Want to try the coffee I made just for you, honey? My husband Ethan's voice cut through the air, his smile a little too wide, a little too forced. I sat at my sister-in-law Lila's elegant dining table in her Philadelphia home, surrounded by our family for brunch. That cup in front of me, what was that strange metallic aroma? It twisted my stomach into knots. I'm Mia Davidson, and at 29, I never thought I'd be wondering if my own husband might be trying to poison me. After 3 years of marriage and too many bouts of unexplained food poisoning, I'd learned to be cautious, especially around Lila. She had a knack for orchestrating little accidents that left me feeling sick or humiliated, all while wearing that same innocent smile Ethan wore now. "Oh, how thoughtful of you." I forced a grin, but my mind raced. The smell wafting from that cup was hauntingly familiar, reminiscent of the time I'd ended up in the emergency clinic after tea at Lila's last month. The doctors had no answers. Lila insisted she'd made it like her own. Across the table, Lila watched me with an unsettling intensity, absently stirring her untouched coffee. "Ethan's become quite the barista lately," she said with a smirk. "He's been practicing different brewing methods just for you." The emphasis on "just for you" sent a jolt through me. Ethan had been spending more time at Lila's house, claiming they were planning a surprise for our anniversary. But that didn't sit right. The whispered conversations that faded when I walked in, the odd texts I'd glimpsed on his phone, and now this coffee with its unsettling scent. I lifted the cup, pretending to sip while scrutinizing their expressions. A fleeting glance exchanged between them confirmed my worst fears. Making a show of checking my phone, I stood up abruptly. "Oh, would you look at that? I need to make a quick call for work." The smell hit me first, the metallic scent, so familiar, so wrong. As I stood in the doorway of the study, my heart raced. What was going on? The tension was thick in the air. There they were, Ethan and Lila, laughing too freely as if everything was normal. But nothing was normal. Not after all the nights spent doubled over in pain, after the mysterious illnesses that had only one common thread: Lila's food. I had to know the truth, but watching them, seeing Lila lean in closer to Ethan, my instincts screamed at me to stop this, to stop her from drinking that coffee, but was I ready for the truth? Was I ready to lose everything? It was then that I saw it. Lila's note. It fell from her lap like a confession, fluttering to the floor with an almost eerie grace. My breath caught in my throat. The handwriting was unmistakable. It was a note meant for Ethan, revealing secrets I couldn't even begin to fathom. I stepped closer, every step an agonizing choice. The truth I had suspected, the betrayal I feared, was in my hands now. The truth was more dangerous than I ever imagined. I'd met Ethan 3 years ago at a wedding in Philadelphia. He was the charming man who swept me off my feet, and Lila was the warm, welcoming sister-in-law. At first, everything felt perfect, until I started noticing the little things: the accidental spills, the strange seasonings in my food, the unexplained reactions that sent me to the hospital. Every time, there was an excuse. Every time, Leela was too nice to notice. But now, after all the unexplained trips to the emergency clinic, the endless pain, I could no longer ignore it. I knew there was something off, but I couldn't prove it. Not until now. I watched as Lila took another sip of the coffee, her eyes never leaving Ethan's. He was too busy, too absorbed in his phone to notice me standing there. I clenched my fists, standing frozen in the doorway, not knowing whether I should confront them or walk away. Was this the moment everything would unravel? Would the truth finally be exposed? Or would it swallow me whole? The cup in my hand felt colder than ever. The metallic scent of betrayal lingered in my nostrils, and I wondered if it was too late to turn back. In the dim light of the dining room, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee hung thick in the air, clashing sharply with the rising tension. Papers fluttered off the table as Ethan Cole's chair toppled over, crashing to the floor. Faint echoes of sirens began to fill the distance. My heart raced, every beat drumming louder than the last. I crouched to catch Leah Prescott's gaze, and that fleeting flicker of betrayal mirrored the anguish in my chest. The room became electric, charged with fear and secrets as the true nature of their relationship hung just beneath the surface, waiting to be exposed. A slight tremor in Lila's hand caught my attention. She set down the cup, her face suddenly pale. "Ethan," she said, her voice shaking, "something's wrong." Ethan looked up, confusion morphing into horror as he realized which cup she was drinking from. He jumped up, knocking over his chair. "No, what's happening?" Lila's hands trembled violently now. I feel—" She tried to stand but stumbled, grabbing the edge of the table for support. "Ethan, what did you put in that coffee?" I stepped out of the study, my phone already recording. Ethan was beside Leah now, his face ashen. "That wasn't supposed to be your cup," he whispered. In the silence of the dining room, his words carried clearly. Lila's eyes widened with realization and fear. "Call an ambulance," she gasped, sliding to the floor. "Please, I can't." I dialed 911 immediately, my hands steady despite the chaos unfolding before me. Leah was on the floor now, her body racked with violent tremors. Ethan knelt beside her, panic written across his face as he realized their plan had backfired spectacularly. "Emergency services, yes, we need an ambulance at 1542 Maple Grove Drive," I said clearly, keeping my phone recording with my other hand. "My sister-in-law appears to be having a severe reaction to something in her coffee. She's conscious but experiencing tremors." As I spoke to the dispatcher, Lila's eyes locked onto mine. The usual cold calculation in her gaze was replaced by raw fear. "Mia," she gasped, "you switched. You knew." "Ma'am, the ambulance is on its way," the dispatcher assured me. "Please stay on the line." Ethan was growing more frantic by the second. "Leah, what's happening? That wasn't supposed to—" "Shut up, Ethan," Leah snapped through gritted teeth, her anger momentarily overcoming her distress. "This is all your fault. You said it would just make her sick enough to miss the board meeting next week. You promised it wouldn't be traced." My blood ran cold. The board meeting where I was scheduled to present. The truth was unraveling, and I was caught in the middle of a web of deceit. Would I be able to protect myself from the chaos they had created? The stakes had never been higher, and the clock was ticking. The aroma of freshly brewed tea filled the dimly lit room, a stark contrast to the tension that surged between them. Mia Davidson's heart raced, recalling the warmth of the cup in her hands, completely unaware of the storm brewing just beneath the surface. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting dramatic shadows across Leah Prescott's face, a reflection of both pain and malice. Outside, the haunting wail of sirens echoed, a grim reminder of the betrayal about to unfold. "Wait, you're saying this was all a setup?" Mia's voice sliced through the thick tension. "Everything clicked into place," Leah gasped, clutching her stomach, doubling over in agony. "The tea, the breakfast incident. Those weren't accidents, were they?" The sound of sirens intensified, looming closer. Ethan Cole's face paled as he recoiled. "Stop talking. You don't know what you're saying." "Oh, I know exactly what I'm saying," Leah shot back, her words slurring slightly. "We've been plotting this for months, ever since you started outshining me in client meetings. It was supposed to undermine your credibility." Just then, the paramedics burst through the door, their professionalism sharp against the chaos. Mia stepped aside, her phone still recording the unraveling drama. As they loaded Leah onto a stretcher, she saved the video to her email, a crucial piece of evidence against them. She locked eyes with Ethan, a steely determination igniting within her. "I'm riding with her to the hospital," she declared, her voice firm. "After all, I need to make sure my sister-in-law gets the proper treatment." The emergency room at Philadelphia General swirled with frantic activity. Mia sat, her phone clutched tightly, replaying Lila's confession in her mind, the tremors in her voice, the wild panic in her eyes. This was no mere paranoia. It was betrayal woven into her very life. The nurse called out Lila's name and Mia stood, noting Ethan's conspicuous absence. He'd mumbled something about parking. Was he flea-eye had happened to Lila? The nurse nodded, her eyes filled with empathy. We'll look into that, Mia. But first, let's focus on Lila. As I followed the nurse into the room, the sterile scent of antiseptic filled my nostrils. Lila lay there, pale and fragile, a stark contrast to the vibrant woman I once knew. The beeping machines created a rhythm of urgency, each sound echoing my racing heart. Lila, I whispered, my voice barely above a breath. What happened? Her eyes fluttered open, confusion clouding her gaze. Mia, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I felt a pang of sorrow mixed with anger. You didn't mean to poison yourself? Or was it all part of Ethan's plan? The tension in the room thickened, a palpable weight pressing down on us. Just then, Dr. Phillips returned, her expression serious. Mia, we need to discuss the findings. The toxins in Lila's system are linked to a rare substance. It's not something you'd find in everyday life. I felt a chill run down my spine. What are you saying? Someone wanted her out of the picture, Dr. Phillips replied, her voice steady. And it's likely connected to your recent health issues. I glanced at Lila, who was now wide-eyed with fear. You have to believe me, Mia. I didn't know. I thought it was just stress. Stress? I echoed, incredulous. You think I'd believe that after everything? Suddenly, Ethan burst into the room, his face a mask of desperation. Mia, please, you have to listen to me. Listen to what? I shot back, my voice rising. More lies? More manipulation? He stepped closer, his charm slipping away, revealing the deceit beneath. I can explain everything. Just give me a chance. But I was done listening. The truth was unraveling before me, and I could feel the pieces falling into place. You think I'd let you spin this any further? You've betrayed my trust, Ethan. The air crackled with tension, and I could see the panic in his eyes. Mia, Enough, I interrupted, my voice firm. I'm done being your pawn. As I turned back to Lila, I felt a surge of determination. I would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The stakes were high, but I was ready to fight for my life and my family. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just protecting myself. I was reclaiming my power. The battle was just beginning, and I would not back down. The scent of fresh pine needles mixed with smoke from a nearby fire, pulling Mia Davidson back to that fateful Christmas party. Laughter echoed, but the warmth of the moment quickly faded as she remembered the bite she took, her heart racing. What once tasted sweet now turned bitter with betrayal as Ethan Cole's eyes met hers. The charm in his smile vanished as an unsettling chill crept over her. This celebration would mark the beginning of the end. The days that followed brought tension, each moment a sharp contrast to the festive atmosphere. Mia couldn't ignore the gnawing suspicion in her gut. She had known something wasn't right. Ethan's stories never quite added up. The spark of doubt grew, fueled by the sight of Lila Prescott, the woman who seemed to weave her way through every part of Mia's life, leaving chaos in her wake. Mia, Lila whispered, barely conscious. I didn't mean for this to happen. Mia's heart tightened, but she couldn't afford to feel sympathy. You didn't mean to poison yourself? Or was this all part of Ethan's plan? The room felt colder. Dr. Phillips' expression was grim as she entered, her voice steady but chilling. Mia, we need to talk. The toxins in Lila's system are linked to a rare substance. Someone wanted her out of the picture. Mia felt a shiver run down her spine. What does that mean? It's connected to your health issues, Dr. Phillips explained. Someone's been targeting you. Mia looked at Lila. Fear was all that remained on her face. I didn't know, Lila pleaded. I thought it was just stress. Mia could barely contain her rage. Stress? After everything? How can you expect me to believe that? The door slammed open. Ethan. Desperation radiated off him. Mia, please, you have to listen to me. Listen to more lies? Mia snapped. How much more of this are you going to spin? He stepped forward, but the charm was gone. Only the cold, hard truth remained. I can explain. Just let me— Enough! Mia's voice cut through the tension. I'm done. As Ethan stood there, powerless, Mia turned back to Lila. Her resolve hardened. She was done being manipulated. The truth was coming out. Nothing could stop her now. Her journey to reclaim her life, her power, had just begun. The dim, the sterile. The air was thick with tension, a storm brewing just outside. Mia Davidson's heart raced as she pieced together the chilling truth. Shadows flickered across the walls, and the scent of rain seeped through the cracked window. She could hear the faint rustle of leaves, a reminder of the chaos swirling around her. What if he really meant it, she thought, her breath hitching in her throat. The weight of betrayal pressed down on her, and she felt the walls closing in. Just then, a door creaked open and a figure emerged, silhouetted against the dim light. You need to know the truth, they whispered, sending chills down her spine. Was it too late to turn back? Mia's mind raced as she recalled the moments leading up to this. Ethan Cole's charming facade had crumbled, revealing a darker agenda. The days that followed were a blur of suspicion and dread. Each interaction with Lila Prescott, the woman who seemed to thrive on chaos, only deepened Mia's unease. I didn't mean for this to happen, Lila had murmured, her voice barely a whisper. But Mia couldn't afford sympathy. You didn't mean to poison yourself? Or was this all part of Ethan's plan? The room felt colder, the stakes higher. Dr. Phillips entered, her expression grave. Mia, we need to talk. The toxins in Lila's system are linked to a rare substance. Someone wanted her out of the picture. Mia's heart raced. What does that mean? It's connected to your health issues, Dr. Phillips explained. Someone's been targeting you. Fear gripped Mia as she looked at Lila, who was now a mere shadow of her former self. I thought it was just stress, Lila pleaded, but Mia's rage bubbled over. Stress? After everything? How can you expect me to believe that? The door slammed open. Ethan stood there, desperation radiating off him. Mia, please, you have to listen to me. Listen to more lies? She snapped. How much more of this are you going to spin? He stepped forward, but the charm was gone. Only the cold, hard truth remained. I can explain. Just let me— Enough. Mia's voice cut through the tension. I'm done. As Ethan stood there, powerless, Mia turned back to Lila. Her resolve hardened. She was done being manipulated. The truth was coming out. Nothing could stop her now. Her journey to reclaim her life, her power, had just begun. The sterile room felt like a cage, and the weight of betrayal hung heavy in the air. Detective Mendoza's voice broke through the silence. Did you know these substances could be lethal in higher concentrations? The tension escalated as Ethan Cole, still visible through the window, sank into a chair, his head in his hands. It wasn't just about that presentation, was it? Mia said slowly, pieces clicking into place. You needed me out of the way permanently because the client specifically requested me as their lead. Lila Prescott's face contorted with a mix of anger and fear. You were ruining everything I built. That client portfolio was mine for years. The accusation hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Ethan Cole said he could fix it by killing me. The words struck like a thunderclap. We weren't trying to— Lila Prescott started, but Dr. Phillips cut her off. The concentration in the coffee you drank today was significantly higher than previous samples. Detective Mendoza turned to the other officer. We'll need a full warrant for both their homes and offices. Contact the pharmaceutical company listed on these bottles. Find out how they obtained these substances. Lila Prescott slumped back against her pillows, the fight draining from her face. "It wasn't supposed to go this far," she whispered. "Ethan Cole kept saying we just needed one more try." Mia stepped closer to her bed, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. The truth was unraveling, and she was ready to confront the darkness that had invaded her life. The storm outside raged on, but inside, a new resolve was forming. The battle for her life and her truth had only just begun. Every time the judge's words reverberated in the still courtroom, the weight of premeditated betrayal against family, it demanded justice. I watched as they were led away in handcuffs. Greed and jealousy had twisted two people I once called friends into something unrecognizable. Their business, their reputations, their freedom, all sacrificed to destroy me. Fast forward a year later. I stood at the podium of the Philadelphia Business Leaders Conference, heart racing. Irony dripped from the moment. This was the very opportunity Lila had tried to steal from me. The Henderson account they schemed to sabotage had catapulted me to the top of my field, landing me more clients and respect than I ever dreamed of. "Success isn't just talent or hard work," I said, scanning the sea of faces, excitement cutting through the air like a knife. "It's about integrity, building genuine relationships based on trust." I let my words hang in the air. Sometimes the biggest threats come from those closest to us. I paused, letting that sink in. But overcoming those challenges only makes us stronger. Post-speech, young professionals crowded around, eager for insights. One woman, eyes shimmering with fervor, asked how I'd kept my cool through it all. I replied, by focusing on what I could control. I gathered evidence, trusted my gut, and never let fear dictate my ambition. Later that night, a notification pinged on my phone. The Henderson client was renewing their contract for another 3 years. I smiled, warmth flooding through me. Just think how differently it could have played out, if I'd ignored my instincts. At brunch the next day, I caught sight of a small article in the local paper, the headline catching my glance. My story was out in the world, but this time I was no longer the victim. The air smelled of fresh coffee as I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my journey transform into something powerful. I was ready for whatever came next. As the morning sun streamed through the window, I couldn't shake the weight of the moment. Ethan Cole and Lila Prescott were finally starting their prison sentences. But instead of dwelling on their fate, I turned my attention to my project proposal. I knew that true revenge wasn't about payback. It was about rising above, about thriving despite those who tried to drag me down. The scent of fresh coffee filled the air, mingling with the rustle of leaves outside. Each word I typed felt like a step toward my new beginning. Could I really transform my pain into power? The answer was yes. I was ready to embrace my future, leaving the shadows of betrayal behind. This was my time to shine.